Hello there. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today. We know it's been a long time since we've been in person, but it's great to be back in the office sharing what our employee experience improvement plan for you for your Rusty Taco Lafayette location. But before we get to that, let's talk about us. It's been a while since we've been in person. My name's Eric Bedrosian. My favorite food from Rusty Taco has got to be your grilled chicken nachos. They're amazing.
Hello, my name is Ajay Singh, but I gotta disagree with my friend Eric here. The best dish at Rusty Taco has gotta be the Rusty Nachos.
And I'm Alex Jurkovich, and I love your fried chicken taco.
So what are we going to go over today? We're going to go a lot over specific information, but first let's take a look at some general knowledge about the Rusty Taco brand and your franchisees. In terms of the brand approach, it is a very rough-around-the-edge approach for its marketing materials for the entire corporation. It has a very open and fun atmosphere at all of their locations, so any Rusty Taco you visit are going to be the same but different according to their local styles. And finally, they use the highest quality of ingredients in their taco and margaritas.
When it comes to attitude, that's what AES is all about. As you learn through this process, AES stands for Attitude Equals Success, which a lot of it you credit towards your employees. And having the slogan, have fun and get it done, is the approach that we took with your plan.
There are also many opportunities to improve your business. For instance, we can implement new and improved training programs. We can also make pay more competitive in very interesting ways.
That is true. And looking at our plan of action, we're going to effectively improve the AES employee experience at your Rusty Taco location. We're going to research what's going on inside and outside the industry, why employees continue to be employed at certain locations. We're going to compare and contrast what Rusty Taco Corporate does versus your franchise-owned location. We're going to use our very own version of the SWOT analysis known as TACO. We're going to create and utilize the Rusty Plan of Action. We're going to use that plan of action and improve it over time.
Now we're going to look at the methods that we use in a research study.
So for our primary research, we took a high-level approach, first looking at Rusty Corporate, then you guys, the AES leadership team, and store management and shift employees. And we first did this through interviews.
Trickling down that approach, we then observed employee interactions and wrapped it up with a Google survey, which gave us logistical data.
So going more in depth with those interviews, we interviewed the Rusty president. He has deep knowledge on the Rusty Taco brand. The franchise director, he knows how the corporate supports the Rusty Taco employee experience at your location. The marketing director, he knows how social media connects to new employees. The AES owner and your chief operating officer, and finally the Rusty Lafayette management team, as you guys know the day-to-day operations at your location.
The next step in the research study, we looked at the surveys portion. With the surveys portion, we had a Google survey, which gave us logistical data. And the anonymity of the survey gave us truthful answers, which is very good in compiling as much research data as you can get. With the interactions portion, we not only did we observe interactions with employees themselves, but with the shift managers, which can come into a key part of the play as we go along this article.
In terms of some more secondary research, Rusty Taco Corporate provides the brand and history and style guide about the Rusty Taco brand, who Rusty Fenton was, and how his dream of a restaurant concept came to reality. In terms of what you all, their AES ownership team, provided us, you provide us with an internal benefits document to see what an employee enjoys at one of your AES owned locations and what the name plays out mathematically, which we love, by the way. And finally, some of those extra secondary resources came from academic and collegiate journals that show us what's going on around the United States in terms of COVID-19 and the industry itself.
So let's look at the rationale versus secondary research. So again, we utilized the AES internal documents, and this allowed us to deeply understand what benefits are given to employees as well as how employees are expected to work at your location.
With the Rusty internal documents, not only did we get the brand's history, but we got the brand's marketing history, which we then set as a standard to our very own plan when comparing and making it for you.
And finally, for those secondary academic journals, we looked at COVID-19's effect on restaurant employees, why people continue to stay in the industry or why they're leaving, and how it's employing people to work during these trying times.
Now that we've gathered all this research, it's time to start drawing some conclusions. We did this by creating groupings. Our very first grouping is the economic grouping. Close to 34% of respondents said that they want a pay raise, yet 66% of your employees don't even qualify for bonuses. But in the day and age of the COVID-19 pandemic, this isn't always a viable option, especially for Rusty Taco. But as president of Rusty Taco, Brendan Murray puts it, we strive to complete these local businesses with quality instead.
So what did we find socially? Essentially, 33% of your employees gave the employee experience a 7 out of 10 or lower at your location. In addition to this, about 100% of your employees said that COVID-19 had little to no impact on their work experience. And finally, many of your employees are solely driven by money.
In terms of the mental research grouping, we use Maslow's hierarchy of needs as our basis for it. So what does Maslow's hierarchy of needs look at? It looks at why an employee continues to stay employed at a location. That includes, are they trying to get the basic needs in everyday life, such as food, water, or shelter? Maybe they find a sense of belonging in the organization, or they feel secure at that location. Maybe they're respected by their coworkers or management or ownership team in your all's case, or they find their true purpose in life through the organization. And so far, 66.7% of your employees are just trying to attain the basic needs in everyday life, so they can't focus on the rest of the hierarchy of needs, which is important for employee well-being.
Here are a couple more key statistics of the mental grouping. Close to 34% of respondents said that they feel more like employees rather than family members, and 12% say that the staff has not been respectful at all. And when we look at motivational factors such as Theory X and Theory Y, 40% of your employees are self-motivated, while 60% still rely on you, the management team, to motivate them throughout the day.
So how do we determine our conclusions from our findings? Well, we utilize our very own TACO analysis, which is adapted from the famous SWOT analysis. So what does TACO stand for? T is threats from the outside, A is absence of activities or ideas, C is commendable activities, and finally O is opportunities for improvement.
And like Alex mentioned, the first portion is that threats from the outside. And we believe the biggest threat from the outside right now for your company is competitor wages. For example, one of the three of us could walk across the street and get a job at McDonald's that starts sometimes between $15 and $18 an hour for just a shift worker. That's a lot of money, but if their employee experience doesn't actually stack up to what you all could provide and offer with our terms of our employee experience plan here, we think that we can help increase your wages, not hourly, but through different forms to compete with these other competitors.
When it comes to absence activities, not having insurance for below management positions was the first place that we thought we all could capitalize on. After further research, this isn't a financially able option once again for Rusty Taco in its current state. And foreshadowing the Theory X and Theory Y data, there's still no significant motivational factors for your team.
And a commendable activity we found is that you guys give your employees many ways to walk up that ladder to success. For instance, one of your employees named Kat started off at that very low shift employee position and was able to walk her way up to the very high managerial position.
And finally, opportunities for improvement. We believe the biggest opportunity for improvement right now is the opportunity to improve the current tip system. So currently, your employees can only accept cash tips. Now, Ajay, Alex, and I were talking about this before we walked in today, that none of us actually carry cash anymore. A lot of restaurants, specifically before and during and after COVID-19, stopped accepting cash due to the hygiene portions of it. But a lot of people in our society and our generations just don't carry cash around anymore. So we're not able to tip your employees. But if we went to a credit, debit, Android, and Apple Pay tip system, we can actually get more tips into their pay.
Now that we gathered all this research, have found conclusions, have grouped it, it's now time to bring Rusty Taco back on its A game.
And we're going to do it through a Rusty plan of action. And there are 3 keys to success for that Rusty plan of action. We're going to look at complementary scheduling of employees and personality types with those employee pools, improved wages, not just getting that hourly page increase, rather getting more tips into the pockets of your employees, and finally, impactful training programs on a more personable level.
So how's the Rusty plan going to be facilitated? Well, let's first look over the acronym. R is first, we're going to review the current training program in place. Next is U, we're going to understand the basics of the data dome test. Then next is S, we're going to shift the data dome basics to the shift workers.
Moving on, we're going to test and pilot the new tip programs and POS system, and then wrap it up by yielding the final AES Dome Junior test and the POS system.
Like Alex mentioned, the first portion is to review the current training program in place, and we did just that before walking in today. Currently, your employees enter only 1 week orientation period, which isn't enough time to not only learn the systems of being an employee of Rusty Taco, but also what it means to be in the employee experience of AES Restaurant Group. And so we want to work on a new 2-week orientation period, which includes our very own AES Dome Junior test, which Alex and Ajay and I will explain briefly here in a moment, and to a new 2-week orientation period.
So next, we're going to understand the basics of the data dome test. So data dome consists of many skills and personality tests, one of them being DISC testing, and this stands for dominance, influence, steadiness, as well as your conscientiousness. And this is currently only being used for those high managerial positions due to the costs associated with this testing. However, they actually should be utilized for those very low-level shift employees.
So when shifting data dome basics to the shift workers, we wanted to be in the hands of the shift managers themselves. As Alex had previously mentioned, the current general manager Kat at the Lafayette location used to be a shift worker, but after giving the test, she had the leadership capability and had moved up in rank. Similarly, we want these compatibility styles and complementary skills together, not only to improve your scheduling for your business, but to also improve the morale of the employees themselves.
Next, we're going to test and pilot the new tip programs and POS systems. So employees want increased wages, but what if there's a better way to do this without increasing their hourly pay? We believe the best way to do that is utilizing Verifone POS systems to allow tipping on credit, debit, Apple, and Android Pay. Now what it's going to do is, according to expectancy theory, the more money that an employee stands to make, the better their experience is going to be along with the consumers, but also with the employee pool itself. And it's going to increase morale overall. And finally, we're going to yield the final AES Dome Junior test. Now, did you guys get a brief moment to scan the QR code? Okay, awesome. So this is a reminder and refresher just for you, but as you can see, Ajay's currently going through the fully developed prototype of this testing software. As you can see, he's randomly pressing different buttons and different questions and answers. He could not have memorized this, so his results for today are going to be completely randomized compared from the last time when he took it. And so he's going through, he's got a couple more here, he's going to pick no on that one, maybe no on that one, sure, yes on that one, and let's go no on the last one as well. And actually he's going to go for yes on the last one. We're going to click see results, and he actually scored in a conscientiousness categories. So that employee can now be scaled and put into the different employee pools and allow for better training and also better scheduling of their shifts. Now, if Ajay goes back and looks at the manager side of it, your managers can take a look at the employee personality traits and see how to actually put them into the right employee pools. For example, if he clicks on one of them and sees that they are scheduling for conscientiousness, they can put together a D and a C in the same shift, and they're going to work better together. But again, if you have a moment to scan that QR code, you can take a look at it as well. On the screen over here, we have some more of the layout of the testing software as well and how it was developed for the prototype. And here's also another just set of randomized questions and answers and the results screen there.
Now this all sounds great, but when is this actually going to get implemented? Well, in January, we're going to start by purchasing some premium website features and working with the AES IT department to make sure the website is looking in tip-top shape. And then in February, we're actually going to start creating the new testing interface and begin writing the new 2-week orientation handbook periods, because we're going to make sure that we're changing it from the 1-week orientation period.
And next, we're going to begin application and use and testing and through March and April. We're going to use this data for 3 test rounds to make sure that the test is actually putting the employees in the proper categories. Let's make sure it's the best product possible. And finally, in May, we're going to begin the use of AES Junior in your location for new employees. We're going to get feedback and experience from not only the old employees, but brand new employees as well.
So what does the timeline look like for the new TIP POS system implementation as well as the training program implementation? So in January, we're going to set up those initial contact meetings with Verifone. Then we're going to set up those initial contact meetings with the management team to begin developing new training incentives, which include new morale boosters.
Then come your employees' favorite month, February. We're actually going to be introducing the new TIP POS system to your employees. But to make sure everything goes regulated, we're going to hold bi-weekly sessions of 2 hours to make sure things are running smoothly.
And finally, in March, we're looking at the beginning of the use of these new programs and systems. And it gives employees enough time to practice taking orders in the new POS system, as well as accepting different forms of tip payment and figuring out what are the best ways to get more tips into the pockets of the employees. Now, we can have the best plan possible, but if we don't have numbers to back up the statistics and facts about this employee experience plan, we're not going to be able to do anything for you guys. So let's go over the nature of the budgets.
So when it comes to the cost of the strategic plan regarding the new training program, on the left side you'll see year 1. With training shifts at $12 per hour and a maximum of 3 employees, you're looking at about $12,960 for the year. And with any employee bonus opportunities with a maximum of $25 for every employee, you're looking at about $9,000 for the year. And with any extras to be added on, miscellaneous, team building exercises, you're looking at about $3,650 for year 1.
Now for year 2, we're going to assume that you guys will be hiring 2 new employees per month, which is down from the previous 3 new employees per month. So that's going to shift down some of those costs. So for instance, the training shifts costs are going to be shifted down to about $8,640. The employee bonus opportunity costs, those can be shifted down to about $6,000. And finally, for various extras to be added on, that's going to remain about the same at about $3,650.
So in terms of AES Junior, we're going to look at year 1. And as you can see here, the test development is actually going to cost you $0 because it's a fully internal job. Your IT department has the resources and the materials and the manpower to be able to put together this test fully in-house in cooperation with its marketing department as well as the 3 of us along the way. So it's a $0 extra fees for this test. In terms of buying the server, we believe a W2125 Intel Xeon is the best way to go with those features right there. It's going to cost you $1,970 for a one-time fee for buying the server. Monthly power and cooling, we're looking around $420 a year. In terms of regular maintenance, $1,000 just in case Ajay decides to spill Starbucks around the computer like he sometimes does. Just an extra safety cost there. And finally, the DDoS and DNS relay protection. Now, this is going to allow the server and the information that's going in and out of it to stay safe at around $240 a year.
Now for year 2, since you guys have already bought the server, this cost goes away. So the only 3 costs that remain are the regular maintenance fees, the monthly power and cooling fees, and the DDoS protection and DNS relay fees, and these all remain about the same.
In terms of the Verifone costs, new Verifone terminals are around $400 each. Well, of course, you're going to need 4 for your 4 terminals that are already in the location, so it's going to be around $1,600 for a one-time cost with some extra tax added on. In terms of the credit card fees, the only new credit card fees that are being added on are the 2.9% you've already negotiated with Verifone that's on food and beverages. However, it will now be applied to any tips coming in. And according to your Chief Operating Officer, Jay Bedrosian, he believes that the restaurant will be able to bring in $1,300 a week in tips, so that 2.9% applied to that $1,300 a week will be around $1,960.40 in tip credit card fees for year 1.
For year 2, we're going to keep things simple. So the only fee you're going to have is the tip credit card fees, and it's going to remain the same price at $1,960.40.
So overall, year 1 we're looking at $32,800.40. Year 2, $21,910.40, and the total for both we're looking at $54,710.80. As you can see on this side, we have the breakdown of the budget itself. The training program is 82.9% of the total overall cost for year 1 and year 2. AES Dome Junior is 10% of that cost, and the new tip programs and POS systems is 7.1%.
So we understand that was a lot of information. If you have any questions, please let us know, and we would like to thank you so much for your time.